And what's up, everybody? It's Sita Nambuya, multifamily consultant and investor. And this video is actually going to be the start of a series of videos where I'm going to give a very introductory, high level overview of multifamily investing. I'm going to talk about what multifamily is, how it differs from residential. I'm going to go over some of the benefits of investing and owning multifamily properties. I'm going to go over some of the property types and the niches. And then I'm even going to dive into how to actually acquire one and give a high level step by step process. So if this is an asset class that you're interested in and you want to learn more, I advise you to stick around and watch all the videos in the series. All right, let's get into it. So first, a little bit about me. My background is actually in engineering. So I got an engineering degree and worked corporate as an engineer for a while before transitioning to a full-time real estate professional. And most of my experience in real estate has been in the multifamily space. I'm a general partner in over 200 units, including market rate and affordable housing units. And I also consult on acquisitions and development for mixed use and multifamily properties. So let's talk about what is multifamily first. So multifamily, of course, is going to refer to multiple units at one property. Of course, the very simple. But one of the keys is when you transition from residential multifamily into commercial is when you hit 5 units. So up to 4 units, a multifamily property is still considered residential and is treated as such. So you're going to finance it the same way. It's going to be valued the same way. But when you transition into 5 units or more, now it's considered a commercial property and it's no longer considered residential. One of the key things and one of the biggest differences that gives multifamily an advantage is that when it's transitioned into commercial and is considered a commercial property, the way it's valued is completely different. So when you're looking at residential properties, as many people know, they're valued based on the comps, so comparable properties. So they're going to look at what does your property look like, what is the square footage, what is the age, bed and bath count. I'm going to talk about even like what school district, what's the finish, how nice does it look. They're going to look at all those factors, find other properties in maybe a 1 to 3 mile radius that have similar characteristics, and you're going to say, what did those properties sell for in the last 6 months or so? And they're going to use that to come up with a value for your property. And commercial, because multifamily property is treated as a business, is valued based on the income. So the more income that the property generates, the net operating income, then the higher the value. And there's a standard equation. I'm not going to get into depth in this video, but value equals NOI over cap rate. So your NOI is your net operating income, which is essentially your revenue minus your operating expenses. Your cap rate is essentially like a multiplier that's indicative of market risk. Lower cap rate markets are going to be seen as more desirable, and you're going to pay a higher premium in those markets as opposed to higher cap rate markets. So you can see is the value is going to increase with the NOI going up or with the cap rate going down. So because the property is valued that way, you're not necessarily tied to the other properties in the market and what they're sold for. You have the ability to come up with a business plan that's going to increase the net operating income and therefore increase the value of the property, which allows you to be very strategic when it comes to multifamily and commercial real estate in general. Very key in how you look at it. So let's discuss some of the other benefits of owning multifamily real estate. One, just the sheer size. If you look at a rental property and a rental unit, it's going to give you some cash flow. When you're looking at multifamily, you can multiply that cash flow among several units. And most of what I'm going to talk about in this video is going to apply to larger properties. So think 80 plus units. And the way you go about investing in properties at 80 plus units is just different in how you operate in smaller multifamily units. So just keep that in mind. We're talking about larger scale properties with most of what I'm talking about in this video. Another benefit is going to be economies of scale. So think about having that central focus on one property. If you have 100 different rental properties in all over the city of Atlanta, then that's 100 different roofs you got to worry about when they need to be replaced. There's 100 different insurance policies for each of those properties. You're going to have 100 different driveways and 100 different unique properties that you have to manage. But when you have 100 units all on one property, you have fewer rules that you got to worry about replacing, probably replace them all at one time. You have one insurance policy that covers everything. You have one water bill or at least one collection of water bills for the entire property. So you're able to centrally focus your attention as an operator on that one location as opposed to a whole bunch of different locations. You also get the economies of scale in terms of pricing and volume discounts. So when you're doing renovations on a large property, you can buy materials in bulk or have a consistent flow of materials coming from one location so you can get better pricing and better efficiency in those materials being delivered. Also, when you have property that's a large enough size, you can have on-site property management, and it's going to be cheaper than having property management of one rental unit. So think about having an on-site manager. You have somebody that's there every single day that can monitor the property, be available for tenant requests and handle certain things. So you can have dedicated staff, and it's going to allow for better oversight of your property, and it's going to be cheaper on a per unit basis than having multiple different properties. Another big benefit is going to be the risk mitigation and diversification. So if you have a single family rental and you have a tenant that leaves or skips or whatever, that unit is not making you any money until you get another tenant in there. So it could be a couple weeks, it could be a few days, it could be a month or so. But in that time frame, you're not getting any revenue. If you have a 100 unit property, you can have one, two, three, four, five, six tenants, 6 units are vacant, and you still have 90 plus units of ideally paying tenants. So you're still seeing that revenue. So now your risk of tenant loss is a lot lower because you're able to spread it across several different units. Next benefit is going to be forced appreciation. So as I mentioned before, your multifamily property, when it's commercial, is going to be valued as a business. So it's valued based on the income. That allows you to be very strategic in forcing appreciation. So a lot of people are in the business of flipping apartments. So similar to flipping a house where you're renovating a unit or renovating a property to bring it up to market standard, make it luxury, whatever it is, and you're going to sell it at a higher price. You can do that with multifamily, but instead of just focusing in on how do you make it look nicer, you're worried about operations. How can you reduce expenses? How can you increase revenue, whether it be adding certain amenities or charging for utilities that weren't previously charged for? Everything that you can do to increase the overall NOI is going to have a direct impact on the value of your property. So you can be very strategic with your business plan and be able to increase value that way. When you couple that with the market appreciation, when the market itself is growing along with your forced appreciation, you can really win big when you exit the property. Last benefit is going to be tax benefits. So just like residential real estate, multifamily real estate has plenty of tax benefits that you can take advantage of as an owner operator. So a lot of those tax benefits are increased or become more efficient based on the scale. For instance, you can leverage cost segregation, and it usually makes a lot more sense in multifamily as opposed to residential. Cost segregation is when you break down the individual components of a property and you can accelerate depreciation, the estimated time it will take to replace that particular component. So instead of having a residential property where you're going to take the entire property for single family, you depreciate it over, I want to say 27 years. You can take individual components like the doors and the flooring, the fans, every single component of that property that has a higher turnover, a shorter lifespan, and you can do accelerated depreciation on those individual components and have a much bigger tax savings than if you just took the depreciation on the entire property itself. All right, thank you for sticking around. If you got some value out of that video, please go ahead and like and then subscribe for more content. And I also encourage you to go and check out the next video. I'm going to talk about the different property types and the different niches in multifamily. So until next time.